Hello everybody, Money Moicano here, and today I thought it'd be a little bit fun if I did something called hot takes, okay? I've actually had this idea for a while, so we're gonna have a little bit of Duelos going on in the background. Beautiful Perry by yours truly right there, Chi-Chi's Jaeger. But yeah, I'm gonna give you 3 hot takes of mine, and if you got your own hot takes or you agree or disagree, post it in the comments, why don't you? Now, before we get started, I am still looking for my cat. Please send your prayers that we do find her. She's been missing for 4 days now. So, yeah, not to start on too dark of a note, but I will mention it in a video once we have found her, if we do. But with that out of the way, my first hot take is that Mage is way more based than being an incantation user. But Jaeger, fighting ganks where one of the people is a mage is the worst thing in this whole game. That's slightly true, okay? This game does have some pretty BG moments when it comes to stuff like Star Shower and that new like gravitational explosion thing. I understand, but let me give you my reason why, okay? So, sorcery does actually give you the tools needed to be based, okay? It does give you... Hang on. Real quick, watch this. This is called a Thing of Beauty. Oh! Yep. A Thing of Beauty right there. Anyway, you have enough sorceries that mimic the, like, melee moveset that you are able to have a very functional melee-only mage character, whereas you can't say that really for incantations. And then also, incantations just have... Oh my gosh, I almost died just even thinking about these incantations. Incantations have way more of the most brutally brain-dead spells in the whole game. So all of the dragon spells that are breath-based, all of them. Whoever's idea it was to make those needs to get thrown into a wood chipper in Minecraft, of course. And then you've also got stuff like Unendurable Frenzy. You've got stuff like pre-nerf, I don't know, whatever that DLC spell is where like you throw out like the 3, like spirals of thorns, something like that. Real quick, right here. This guy right here, I cannot stand dueling shields, okay? It's always when I don't have an amazing dueling shield answer on my build that I end up fighting them. And it's like these players know what they're doing. If you have fought a dueling shield player, on a scale of 1 out of 10, you can tell that the way that they play in terms of monkey brain activity is like... They're like a 3 out of 10 on the Elden Ring IQ chart, but it's like you can't fucking do hardly anything about it because like they just walk forward and they press buttons and you take damage and it sucks. And so yeah, other than blind spot, which isn't even that good of an answer, I don't have any options. So and that's the reason why that's not a good answer. That, you know what? That goes perfectly into my next hot take. My next hot take is that backhand blades are actually really cool. Okay? This one's gonna make so many people mad. I can already hear it. I can already hear the typing away of the comments. See, yes, backhand blades are kind of the worst thing ever. They have done irreparable damage to this game. Get shysted right there, dude. GG's, bro. But... when you take away the Ashes of War, right, really the main problem with this weapon class anymore is its damage. Its damage is too high, right, even after it's been nerfed a couple times. Because it's a cross between Power Stance Great Spears, a insanely based setup that everybody hates, and it's a cross between Twin Blade, which is also a very base setup that everybody sleeps on. Those are actually kind of 2 hot takes in their own, but they're not going to be the hot takes of this video. Amazing will to fight and win right there. Not everyone has the winning genetics, but, you know, whatever. Yeah, backhand blades, when you take away the Ashes of War that have completely ruined the game, you get a setup that, yes, it's still ridiculously strong, but you do have to think quite a lot to make it work well. So that's my next hot take. I think that the backhand blades are actually quite shiced in those regards. Alright, and my third hot take for the video is that Elden Ring has really good fashion, okay? But that is with an asterisk, okay? Everybody talks about how shit Elden Ring fashion is. What they mean to say is, when it comes to the armors that are considered good, that Elden Ring has horrible fashion. You know what? Fair. That is true and real, bestie, okay? But when it comes to... I'm sorry, that parry actually made me a teensy bit Viagra'd right there. Yeah, when you're looking at the grand scope of everything, it's like, sure, you might not be able to tank through the backhand of a Shamshir, but like, come on, bro. The knight armor in this game's the best thing ever. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear actually, the knight armor doesn't actually look that good. Shut up. Not hearing it, and I'm not having it, okay? I chose this as my signature armor for a reason, okay? Probably heard that right there, little notification in the back. And there's plenty of others. There's so many cool looking armors in this game. It's just that when it comes to the ones that get you over that 88 poise threshold, yeah, we're looking at all of the shit that George R.R. Farton programmed into the game to look as ugly as possible. Because as you guys know, George R.R. Farton, he's extremely jealous of how beautiful Danny DeVito is, okay? And so in his jealousy of how ugly he is and how beautiful Danny DeVito is, he decided, I'm going to make sure that all of the strongest armors look like complete trash. And you know what? Miyazaki was not aware of this. See, he doesn't actually play his own games. He didn't know what George R.R. Farton was doing to his game. So, in the DLC, he released the one and only heavy armor that actually looks good, which is the Knight of Solitude armor, because he loves Nuts from Berk, okay? And he did that to save us from the horrendous fashion of the heavy armors. And you know what? Kudos on Michael Zaki for that. That was very based of him. The Knight of Solitude armor is legitimately very good. But for everything else, you can thank... I just watched me kick this guy and do absolutely nothing about it. I'm so based for that. See, look, he can just do that over and over and over, and it's like, unless you're running kick, you can't do shit about it, okay? But you know what? I have a little bit of a surprise for this guy here in a couple seconds, okay? So I'll let that come to fruition on its own. But yeah, like, one of my favorite combinations, it's like borderline tied with my love for the knight armor, is, imagine this in your head. Altered Bloodhound chest plate, fire... Hang on. Yep. I love dexterity, bro. The fact that I can just wrap it up like that, I love dexterity, bro. But, yeah, anyway. The Fire Monk gauntlets that are more brass looking, like there's two different Fire Monk sets. The one that has more of the brassish look, and then the Nox Greaves. Absolutely goated design right there. It's actually going to be the inspiration for the armor of Antebellum in the story that I'm writing. Not one-to-one, but in terms of like the general silhouette, that's what I'm going to be doing. Now, speaking of armor, something that I have incorporated into this character is the Coop Mid's active camouflage. Look how hard it would be to see me, okay? I see that he's just a solo survivor, so I'm like, okay, I don't need to hide against this guy. But, like, that's really cool, and there's a lot of places in the game where that works, okay? Now, I might try and look at different areas and try and theorycraft solid Snake Eater, fashion for other areas to hide in plain sight, but the brown one is just generally the best one. It is so damn good for being able to get out of the line of sight of the T-Rexes, aka the Phantoms and Blues. They can only see motion, you know, and when you're standing still with that brown armor, they can't see you worth a shit. But yeah, I'd say those are some pretty decent hot takes. Like I said, if you've got your own, then put them in the comments, okay? Make your list of 3. And for this one, I just did Elden Ring. If you guys want, I can do hot takes across the entire Souls series for any future installments, because hey, if there's one thing that Souls players are really good at, it's arguing over menial shit, okay? And hey, I am the Base Lord when it comes to this type of shit, okay? Beautiful little curved sword pseudo combo right there. I go for the parry, don't get it, unfortunately. But here in just a second, I'm gonna walk you guys through how I broke the brain of an AFK farmer. So stay tuned for that, my boys. Alrighty, welcome back, femboys and gentlemen. It is time for what turned out to be a very, very slow-paced invasion. The last time I had one of these at the end of the video was in the Devourer Scepter video, but this build was a little bit better prepared to play the Metal Gear Solid version of an AFK farmer invasion. Now, this is honestly one of the most brutal spots that I've ever seen one of these AFK farmers in. This is near the Perfumer's ruins, right? But where they're hiding is currently a mystery to me, but if you've found hosts at this area, then you know what we're eventually going to find out. It's not looking great for us. So here, once again, we have the Coop Mid's tactical camo. Thing of beauty, to be honest, and sorry, I just had Mexican food. Had to let out a little bit of a burp there. It was good, by the way. It was real good. So yeah, so this camo is actually going to be a huge part of our eventual success. So the first, 20 minutes of this invasion, because this one was 30 minutes long, I have cut it down big time, is me trying to triangulate where on this craggy pillar he is at. Now, we can see here that we have 2 hunters in the world, and while I am confident that I would be able to defeat them, since I'm in this stealth mode, I would rather them suffer as well as what I hope to make the host suffer too. Now we're going to jump down right here, and we're going to try and get a decent idea of where he's at. Essentially, the way that I'm going to triangulate this... Actually, hang on, I see the blue right there. Look at this. I thought he saw me for a second. Oh my gosh. He didn't see us. This armor, this camo is legit. Now, granted, I am wearing the cloak, the concealing veil, but he definitely was in range there near the end. So, was able to make really good use of that right there. Fantastic bit of armor for playing Metal Gear Solid 3 in Elden Ring. So the way that I'm going to try and triangulate where he is, to try and tell what point in the pillar he's at, is I'm going to, almost like how the spider, the Porsche, slowly breaks down its strategy for attack against web spiders. We're going to approach this pillar from multiple angles, and once we have the compass lined up as to where we're going to aim to make that compass line up as good as we can, then we're going to draw on our map where we're going to hopefully be able to figure out a cross-section point, and that should hopefully allow us to have an easier time. Now, we did have a blue right there leave, and right here, I'm going to be texting my buddy Hooge to see if he'll come invade this guy with me, but he was busy. Watch this, watch this. Oh, man. Yeah, he could have changed his mind if he saw us and started attacking us, but he didn't see a fucking thing of a thing, yeah? He didn't see no thing. So, I decide that this spot right here is not as advantageous as what I am looking for. So while crouching around to keep the concealing veil going, we are going to try and find a better vantage point. So I might have cut it out there by accident. Oh no, I didn't. I don't have any markers down yet. So I stand right here. This is an exposed spot, but I'm going to try and place these in as good of a place as I can. I place 2, that way I can mentally draw the line in my brain, and also it helps us visualize it with the overworld marks we can see right there. And we have another hunter. Now, this time around, what I decide to do, thankfully he doesn't immediately come this way, is I do this to hide in the bush. Look at that camo. That is 95% wearing full black in the grass of MGS3 on the night mission. Tell me this is not difficult to see. We can see ourselves a little bit right here, but that's because the bush goes away when you are sort of peeking through it. If he were to see us, this person straight up would be a falcon. Like, there's no human being on planet Earth. Yeah. He's gonna try and go help the host. Little does he know that he's being used. He's being used like the little hoe that he is. Okay, that was a little bit mean, but you get my point. He's being used by the host in a way that is very cringe. So, once again, we stand right here, and I try to draw a line in my brain, fight off the auto lock right there, to place where I think the intersection is, and what I'm starting to come to the conclusion of that I really didn't want to be the case is that he is, where you see the 2 jagged points, he must be in the center point, but at some sort of lower elevation. And the reason that that's so bad is because that means that we cannot get a clear shot of him from anywhere near the base of this pillar. Now, we do need to be careful right here. I decide to go around right here and just hide for a second while I think about what to do. But it turns out that we are very, very close to the spawn point all these blues are coming from. And so I realized that I'd make noise if I dropped down right here. I didn't hear him run away. And so I was about to put on the crepice vial, but I realized that it might, if I took off one of the HP rings, they might be able to see my HP go down by a tick. Almost like how you can see people from however far away when they're poisoned, for example. And I didn't want to risk it. So I went ahead and crept down as slowly as I can. And it looks like the blue ran off without me realizing, which is good for us as of right now. I go ahead and check the surroundings before I make a break for it. Here, before too much longer, we're going to start heading a lot further away because, unfortunately, this pillar is flanked on both sides by cliffs that we cannot get up onto, especially the one to the north, being Volcano Manor, we would not be able to cross the bridge. There is a fog wall on the bridge, so there might even be one before then, but I know damn well that we wouldn't be able to get there, at least because of that one. So that one's not on the table. As well as if you're trying to go down the Seethe Water Aqueduct, there is a barrier that keeps teleporting you backwards, so we wouldn't be able to do that either. Now, somehow, someway, one of those blues died to flowers. So that makes the second person in human history that has ever died to the flowers, me being the honorary numero uno that died to the flowers. Don't ask how. But yeah, I'm sneaking around seeing if there's any point I can see this guy, and I almost give my cover away. Thankfully, the pillar right there was in the way of the blue seeing me, and he decided to go home. However, obviously, because of how Elden Ring works, of course a blue comes in right as one leaves. So I make sure to hide at least somewhat in a bush, and I spend a little bit more time pondering what to do. Now this is the point where I start realizing maybe there's somewhere a bit further back with high enough elevation that I might be able to see him. And so, here before too much longer, I go on a very lengthy trek. Okay, we're going to go on a trek all the way up to this higher point in Altus Plateau. Okay, now I'm almost positive that I'm not going to get spotted by the hunters while I'm doing this, because they have all been spawning really close to the base of the pillar, so he probably had absolutely no clue what I was doing, right? So this is the first place that I decided to make our little perch, right? As you can see, every single one of those, the point where these sort of lines are crossing is pointing to the idea that this guy is going to be in a completely impossible to shoot spot. I go ahead and get rid of the cross marks. I've gleaned the information I needed, but you know what? Here in just a moment, we're going to see something truly sad. Our suspicions were correct, needless to say. And this is really, really far to land a single shot. And the problem is that I can almost guarantee that on the other side, where we can't see anything, is a whole lot more rock, and that he wouldn't fall to his death. He would just fall a little bit onto the rock. He would have been shot at, assuming that we do hit the shot. Here I am messaging the invader that joined our world, but he didn't respond, so I just figured he might be AFK. I even right there took an image of where he's hiding. Yeah, I don't know what to say, but yeah, we continue our extremely long trek up to the Wyndham Ruins and seeing if we can get a good vantage point from here. This is kind of our last hope, because every other spot is just not high enough, or it's at too bad of an angle. If you look all the way over there, our guy's wearing the Albinaric mask, meaning it is Stilovsky himself. Everybody say hello, Stilovsky. And he's just hanging out down there. Now, I want to take test shots to see how much of an arch there is to the shot. I do not fire the magic and lightning ones right there, because I don't want a very obvious light and explosion to be coming from me. Which could make that significantly worse, right? If the host knows that he's being shot at, or even worse, if he sees where my vantage point is. But that's a lot of drop-off. We're not landing a shot if the explosive arrows have that much drop-off. So now I test a lightning bolt, and what we learn here is that despite being strapped with electric explosives at the taper, I can't sing that. I don't have enough melanin content. We realize that it does not arc near as much, as though that makes sense. But yes, this has made me realize, with these two shots that we've taken, that we are so far away from the spot we're trying to shoot that the arrows seem to be despawning in the air. And none of these shots, I take a third one just to be sure, are actually causing an explosion. Now, whether they are actually causing an explosion and we're just too far away to see it, I can't tell. And that's not good enough information to go off of, considering I don't just, know it. So what I decide here, thankfully the Phantom Finger actually did us a service for once. I start looking around the ruins. The ruins may have a parkour spot that we can get up onto that might allow us to take a better shot. We get this hunter right here, Estrogen Garveltavius right here, and we have a bit of an interesting run-in with this guy. I crouch down just in time, and what do we witness him do to Stilovsky? Truly, that's not a lot of HP, I won't lie, Stilovsky. So, yeah, he ruthlessly kills our AFK Phantom right there, and I decide, you know what? I'm gonna get it back in blood. So I go full shitter mode. Hello, baby. And so we're running that back shot blades. We're mincing him right here. He finally gets a grip on it, but I have made sure that I am not going to lose to this. So goes for another jump right there, and that's what really seals it. Give him a couple of gadooshas to make sure that he feels nice and homely in this beautiful world called Elden Ring AFK Farming Simulator. But yes, it is back to parkour mode. We go ahead and camo back up, and I'm starting to come to a realization as I start doing this parkour that I don't think that there's a single spot that we can get to take a good shot at this guy. This is kind of my last hope, this one that we're going to. And as we can see right here, it's not quite good enough. Now that doesn't mean that I'm gonna give up. Real men never give up, okay? We need to take a shot to the liver to give up. God damn it, Stevie! Why'd you have to fucking get body kicked by John? God damn it. But anyway, I start getting ready to take another shot, even though we can't see anything. But in the back of my mind, I always knew that we had one more way to win, which will reveal itself in due time. Now, I am also spending copious amount of time just watching the pillar to see if he reveals himself again. But it seems that he is not going to. Perhaps he saw that we were actually killing his hunters, and that just wasn't good enough. But we had one more win condition this entire time, and that was to make him angry that we weren't dying. And he unplugs his console. GG shitter. Have a great rest of your evening, everyone. Peace.